All right, this is a very special episode of our Road to Camelot.
Yeah.
We've talked to a number of people, and even when we were looking ourselves, you gotta wonder, there are so many different types of RVs out there.
Wow, yeah.
Which one is right for you? Okay, so we have a couple of basic questions that we need to ask you first to help narrow down what's going to be the best RV that you're looking for. I mean, there's so many different types out there. There's trailers, there's towables, there's all different kinds of those. There's all different kinds of drivables. Where do you even start? So I have 6 simple questions that will at least get us in the right direction. Yeah, let's see. First question. So, do you like to stay in one? In fact, the first 2 are kind of similar. So, I'm going to just do the first 2 questions first. Do you like to stay in one place when you travel, or do you like to wander around a bit? And the second question is, do you stay at a location for a week or more, or do you only stay for a night or 2 in each location? Now, that's a big clue. And the reason why is because if you are moving around a lot, a tow trailer may not be the best thing for you, whether it's a fifth wheeler or trailer. Yeah, more setup time. I mean, you see
There's
how
a lot
much...
more setup time. You've seen what we've done in setup.
Yeah. We're there for a couple hours.
Tear down is even sometimes longer than setup.
Yeah,
so usually setting up is, I can get it done pretty quickly.
Right.
But I would say it takes us at least a good hour or 2 to set up.
And then hitching up as well.
Yeah, and then tear down and hitch up.
Hitching up is all part of that too, as far as it takes more time. Where drivable, you could pretty much pull into a spot and be set up a lot quicker. So that kind of gives you the answer to that one, but we'll go into more detail in a second. Number 3, are you looking for full-time travel, or like we're doing, or are you looking for just, I just want something to be a weekend warrior, or I want something to have better summer vacations? You know what? I want to touch on this right now, and we'll answer the big question here, what you're looking for. There are RVs that are certified full-time travel. So basically, it's like this fifth wheel. The Cougar we have is certified full-time. Montana's are. There's other brands that are certified full-time travel. If you want something this big, but you're not full-time traveling, you can get away a lot cheaper with some of the ultralights or some of the brands that aren't quite built as solid, because they're only designed to be taken out,
periodically,
half a dozen times a year, maybe at the tops.
Yep.
So once again, that's one thing to look at. If you don't want to say, oh, I want a full-time travel, and then go pick up something that will not hold up. And if, in fact, some manufacturers, or some warranties, I should say, the warranty and insurance, they will not cover certain warranty issues if they find out you're living in it full time.
Yeah, that was one thing that I didn't realize until we were looking and we got the RV. And one of the first questions they asked us, are you living in this full time? And that could be an issue.
And that goes with all of them. Let's see here. Number 4. In fact, 4 and 5 are very similar too. So we're going to talk about that in a second here. 4 and 5. Do you like to be off the beaten path, or do you like to be in the middle of all the excitement? So are you out? Are you out in the boonies?
Right.
Dry camping?
Get away from it all.
or are you in the middle of the city in a city campground? Right. And the second part of that is, do you see yourself in the rustic wilderness, or you can't live without that hairdryer, coffee maker, or being completely connected? Now, this is important to know, because once again, we like being off the beaten path. We like being in the wilderness, so we also like to be connected. So, but that brings us to a dilemma. To be connected, you need electricity, you need power, so you got to be able to solve that issue. If you want all the creature comforts, and we just had this discussion this morning, I like our fridge, but we discovered that sometimes it's not quite big
Even though it's
enough.
a nice size fridge, it really is a nice size
Yeah,
fridge. Living full time, sometimes it's not quite big enough.
yeah,
So,
especially if you're trying to stock up on produce.
yeah.
Takes a lot of space.
Well, we started a new diet thing here this year. Yes, we're trying. So, but
Pass that encouragement along,
pass that in along. Yes, definitely.
and hopefully you'll see a shrink over the next year. Anyways,
Well, him anyway.
yeah. So I mean, one of the choices you get is residential appliances versus RV appliances.
RV. Yeah.
The big difference there is like we have the largest RV refrigerator you can get, but it's only half the size of a residential fridge.
Mm-hmm.
If we decided to go all residential.
Yeah.
And the problem is, to have residential, you need residential power.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you're only going to be going to places where you can plug in for full hookup.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have one of those big 5,000 watt generators that you're running the entire time because you got to keep your fridge going. Mm-hmm. So that's something to think about. We decided not to go residential because we do like to get off that path. We have a lot of friends that, nope, it's all glamping 100%. So
that's okay.
And that's their
fine
thing.
with
That's their thing.
I like it too.
And to be honest, there may be a time where we decided, you know what, we've had enough of rustic. Let's do something else that has
Mm-hmm.
residential. So we may wind up changing down the road. But just to understand, that's the difference. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at this great residential and picturing yourself out in the middle of nowhere on a river, and not going to happen. Number 6, what is your budget? Now that's
the biggie.
You need to figure out what's your budget,
yeah.
I heard there's another group out there doing full time, and they're basically saying, you know what, get whatever you need to get out on the road, and I agree with that 100%. Just get out there. Just you don't know what you're missing, and the more you miss it, the more you can't get that back.
And I think too, just getting out there, getting started, getting on the road, you discover what it is you really do want or what you don't want. So I think that's the big thing, is just getting out there and seeing that.
Now, we were looking at brand new. We wound up with a almost new, slightly pre-owned.
I think they took it out once, maybe twice.
Yeah. We don't know the full history, but it's slightly pre-owned. And we have had brand new before, and we have had used before. Mm-hmm. I have some good friends that they only believe in used, and you have to admit, once you drive that thing off the lot or pull it off the lot, whichever the case may be, it loses a lot of off the price. Now, we didn't.
You think a brand new car goes down? This goes down more.
We didn't appreciate a whole lot, and our value is holding only because, and we'll talk about one other thing at the very end, but because of where we bought it and the vehicle we bought. So we got it at a really incredible price for what it was.
Don't rush into getting your vehicle. Take your time and look around.
I need to do a video. Maybe a video coming up is, if you are getting ready to buy used, what to look for.
Yeah.
And even if you're buying new, what to look for. Because, things...
Well, and even when we were looking at this vehicle, our salespeople, they were absolutely amazing, absolutely wonderful. She sent us all these pictures and everything. And with my ability and some of my knowledge of being able to work in warranty in an RV dealership, fortunately, I had that knowledge of what to look for, which was great. If anybody has questions, want to send me pictures, feel free.
Now, we're getting this close to actually talking about the vehicles, but there's one more thing to talk about before we jump into trailers and drivables, and that is tow vehicle or towed. The tow vehicle, if you are looking, after you watch this and think, we really want some sort of a trailer, you need a tow vehicle. If you already have a tow vehicle, you will be limited in what you're going to be able to tow with that. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a tow vehicle yet, do not buy that vehicle until you absolutely, positively, finally pick out and have the down payment, or you put money to hold that vehicle before you go out and buy your tow vehicle or your truck. the vehicle to tow it with.
Yeah.
We started out when we were talking about
Took us a year of research.
We originally started out thinking, oh, we're just going to do weekend stuff, and we were looking at a small trailer, a little retro trailer, and I was looking at a little 6-cylinder truck. If I would have run out and bought that truck, we would have been totally messed up for what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I had then we started looking at bigger and bigger vehicles to tow, and I was set on a 2,500 size truck, 3/4 ton, because I thought I can get away with it, and later discovered, thanks to some extremely knowledgeable people, and that not only was that the wrong choice, we would never be in what we're in right now.
Right.
So, I'm not going to go into great detail on it, but when you're looking at tow capacity of your truck versus the tow weight of your trailer, you never want to get them to be matched evenly. Mm-mm. If my trailer had a 8,000 pound tow weight, and my truck had an 8,000 pound tow capacity, it's going to put undue strain on that truck. You always want to try to do maybe 75%, so the truck has some room to play. I mean, that means you'll be able to pull it, but are you going to be able to get over the Rockies? Are you going to be able to get over the Sierra Nevada mountains? I mean, can you get over mountain ranges? Probably not, or not easily.
I mean, even in this year coming down, we hit some pretty steep grades and climbs.
Check out the road we shouldn't have been on, man. We made it up and around that thing. That was pretty hairy,
tough,
but
pretty
we did
hairy.
it. Now everyone looks at tow capacity, but what they don't look at is payload. Payload is every bit as important as the tow. Payload is basically the weight that is going on either your hitch on a pull trailer or in the bed of the truck for a fifth wheel. Mm-hmm. And you need to make sure that the gross weight payload, now payload also includes anything that's into the bed of the truck besides the trailer, and the people and animals and everything else that you put in that truck. We had to count
the weight of the dogs.
We
had to count what was in everything that's in that truck.
That's part of the payload. And oftentimes people will find something that, the tow weight's great. In fact, I saw a truck. There was a truck I almost got. It was a 2,500. The tow ratio was perfect. Yeah. The payload was way off. Yeah. And we would not have been able to have done
if you have any questions about, your payload, your tow capacities, anything like that, shoot us an email and we'll get right back to you on that.
Yep. Absolutely.
We'll help you out with that, because here's the thing, and I'm sorry, do not listen to the salesman.
No,
they do not always know what they're talking about.
Yeah, this salesman was all ready to have me sign and was pressuring me, and it's like, I want to do a little bit more research first, and it's a good thing I did.
Yeah, so don't always believe what they say.
Now, what's a toad? I'm not talking about something you kiss to turn into a prince. The toad is basically a vehicle that you tow behind a drivable RV. So if you drive your RV and you want to tow a vehicle with you,
like a small car.
Yeah, small car.
Motorcycles.
Now, there's two ways to go with that. Well, a number of ways to go with that.
There's a number of ways, yeah.
For towing a car, if you have a car that you already have that you want to tow, if it does not have a way of totally disconnecting the drivetrain, like if you have a Jeep that you can put into a tow mode where it's just freewheeling, you're good to go. All four on the ground as you're towing. Most cars, you can't just put it into neutral. So we had a sedan that we early on that we would take with us, and I wound up buying a tow dolly. Now, front wheel drive is better, because with front wheel drive, you pull the front end up on the tow dolly, the rear wheels can be in tow behind you, and when you are
and you're basically not clicking off mileage,
brake off, and neutral, the rear wheels will just spin freely. If you have rear wheel drive, you probably would have to back it onto your trailer, and that's a little tricky. Best thing is to get something like a Jeep, or there is a transmission disconnect, but that's a little pricey on some vehicles.
Yeah, it's pricey and it's tricky.
I've seen people that do that, like with PT Cruisers, they get a transmission disconnect.
And what you can do too, if your car is small enough, you can get, just a trailer itself.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
put the whole car
like
on.
a little smart car, you can practically put it in your back pocket. But yeah,
Are you kidding? I saw somebody that had a smart car, and they had a toy hauler. They put it in the toy hauler.
Oh, easy, yeah, easy. Quick recap then. If you're doing full time, you want a bigger vehicle. If you like to move around, you want something you can drive. If you want to stay in one place for a week or so at a time or more, then a tow trailer style. So let's jump into the styles. Tow trailers. There's a lot of different styles out there.
Wow. I was amazed at everything I've seen.
Yeah, we started in a tent trailer. Pros and cons of a tent trailer.
Great for weekend stuff.
It's a fair weather trailer.
Yeah.
Anything too cold, anything too hot. You
have to realize.
And we were in both extremes.
You have to realize when we had our tent trailer, this was back in the 70s.
Young married couple.
Yeah. And tent trailers now come a long way. They come with air conditioners, and you can have heaters. You can even have a little fridge in yours. We had a little fridge.
We had an ice box. We had an ice box where you actually put a block of ice in it.
You had to put a block of ice in. And I think...
We did have water.
We did have water. We did not have...
no bathroom.
No bathroom facility.
But there was a sink.
Some of them now come with that. So
and they came with them then, too, to be honest. But we were on a budget, and we wound up with this really cool little tent trailer that was extremely inexpensive. But yet we were stuck in a couple of cold climate places, and froze our tails off. And
it was really cold.
And then we wound up down in Reno during the middle of the summer, and pretty much couldn't stay out there at all. It was way too hot.
Yeah. So
tent trailers have their limits by a lot. The pros on a tent trailer: they're small, they're lightweight, they could be towed by just about anything. We had a little 4-cylinder truck that we towed it with, and is very low profile, so there's no wind resistance. And we parked it in the garage. So a lot of pros on that side of it if you're looking for something that's easily storable. Or if you are used to tent camping and you want to go a step up, this is actually a really nice step up.
It's a nice step up from tent camping.
Very comfortable.
Most definitely, yeah.
Then you got teardrops, which is... in fact, I'll throw teardrops and small retros together there.
Or A-frames. You've got some A-frames.
The A-frames. They're very small vehicles.
Yeah. Basically sleep in them.
Pretty much sleep in them. The teardrops usually have a kitchen in the back. You go outside and open up the rear.
Yeah, you go outside and open it up. It's really kind of cool. So
the little retros will have a kitchen inside, but they are very small living. But they are lightweight. Once again, can be towed by just about anything. So those are the advantages. And you can get into just about any campground with something that small.
Exactly.
When you move up to the larger travel trailers and the fifth wheels and toy haulers. Now, they do make travel trailer toy haulers. I've seen a few in our travels.
A couple of them,
Most toy haulers come
you don't see them very often, though.
in fifth wheels.
Yeah.
A toy hauler, if you're not sure the terminology, the back end will open up and it's a garage. You can pull a car, you can pull motorcycles in there. Well, maybe not a big car, small car. ATV vehicles, motorcycles. Some people use it to create a huge extra bonus room. Now, one thing you want to look at when you get into the large travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers, are you planning at any time to do full-time? If you are, make sure that you have more than adequate closet space, more than adequate pantry food storage space, and adequate for just extra supplies and things. You've seen the tour of this rig. It's a great layout for what we do. There's some that are definitely bigger than this that give you even more space. The understorage is adequate. You always want more, right? But it's adequate. It's definitely very comfortable living.
Yeah.
And the larger tow trailers and toy haulers, same thing. They can be extremely comfortable. Trailers, not so high of ceilings. So if you're claustrophobic, if you're in a trailer, the ceiling's going to be a lot closer to your head. You're not going to have as much overhead type storage potential. Where when you get into the fifth wheel, you're towing a house behind you.
Pretty much.
So that's kind of the difference in that style.
Mm-hmm.
I put down some pros here. Pros of the tow trailer style: you always have a vehicle to drive around when you get to where you're going, because it's what you're driving in. If the trailer goes into the shop, you at least have transportation.
Which ours did.
And it allows you to set up a more permanent home base. Mm-hmm. So when we go someplace, we set it up. This is our home base. We can then drive off to go do stuff. We come back, and our home base is nice and secure.
Yeah, we don't have to keep tearing down to go to the market.
Cons. Takes more time to set up and tear down. Some trailers are less convenient for accessing the kitchen wall at a rest stop. When we go to a rest stop, we cannot access our refrigerator or pantry or couches. We can get to the bathroom.
Most of them are that way.
We
yeah.
can if we really need to stop just to take a nap. We can go lay down. Mm-hmm. Now we have gone to rest stops before where we found a place where we had plenty of room around us, and we pulled the slides out so we could get to make a sandwich or something. Mm-hmm. But it's less convenient. We'll just put it that way. Less convenient to do that. Drivables, they come in 3 flavors. Yeah, Class A, Class C, and Class B. Mm-hmm. Class A.
Those are your big ones.
The big ones.
All consumed.
They look like the bus. They're the ones that look like a bus. You do have the real big ones are diesel. Mm-hmm. They're able to tow more.
Diesel pushers.
Tow heavier vehicles behind it. In fact, there was one person here that was actually towing a large Ford F-150 because they had this diesel pusher that was able to tow a big
and some of them
truck.
that are snowbirds also, they'll put a large
trailer behind
them that they carry back and forth. Yeah. So I really do like a Class A. They're beautiful.
Class A's are, if you're doing full-time travel, I would definitely suggest Class A because they are, now they are geared, funny enough, it's the bigger model of a RV, but they're designed usually for a couple. Mm-hmm. Now, some of them boast more sleeping space, but most of them are designed for a couple.
They're not just traveling. They're not very family orientated, I guess you could say.
There'll be some where there's a bed that falls down over the driver's
space. There are
space.
some.
A couch may fold into a bed. We have a couch that folds into a bed, but this is
not the most comfortable thing.
This is not designed for, families, if you're full-time in it, maybe. Yeah. If I was a family, we'll talk about that too. Bunkhouse. Mm-hmm. There's a style that's a bunkhouse where you actually have an extra room beside your living space, kitchen, and main bedroom. You'll have another, what they call a bunkhouse that could sleep more people, and that would be more for family. Mm-hmm. Class A, you don't normally see that. Class C is the one that looks like the overhead over a truck, but it's much larger. It's not like the old camper style. Campers are making a comeback.
They are. We've seen a lot of truck campers.
Yeah, where you got the truck and you got the camper that actually
sits on the bed of the truck.
Sits on the bed of the actual pickup truck and can be removed if you needed to. Class C's look like that, but the living space is built as part of the rig. So you do have access all the way through.
From the drivers, from the front end, you have access to the rest of the RV.
Walk-through access. Mm-hmm. And then Class B actually has made a huge rise in the recent years.
Very big one.
And
My brother has one.
That is basically a conversion van. They're small, they're compact. They're easy to get around. With something like that, you probably
town friendly.
You probably would never need to get a tow vehicle because you could drive that and park it in the grocery store parking lot. They are small enough to drive around town in, but you have all the amenities of a camper, though it's compact. You're living in a pretty tight space. But that's the Class B. Pros and cons of drivables.
Oh, yes.
Pros of drivables: generally less time to set up and tear down, so it allows you to move around, more easily from site to site to site.
And you know what was nice in having, because we had 2 Class C's
in the past,
and it was kind of neat because while Steve was driving, I could actually go in and make the kids a sandwich
Yeah.
or do something. It was a little, shaky.
Now, I do
Do
not.
all that,
We do
so.
not condone moving around the rig
No,
while
we do not.
driving. Should be in your seat with a seatbelt, and
But when
so
your
on.
kid is screaming, "Mommy, I'm hungry," you go run and you get a snack. You know.
But without being said, if you haven't become a member of the 60-mile-an-hour club, you don't know what living's all about.
Yeah, ask
60
our
mi-
daughter
Yeah.
about that one.
60-mile-an-hour club.
Anyway,
Somebody's
we'll
driving,
leave it there. We'll leave it there.
and you got to visit the privy.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's drop it at that one. Okay. More comfortable for the passengers.
Yeah.
Passengers are able to be more comfortable.
Yes. What's really neat about those is, yes, the couches and
Yeah.
if you have a chair and all that, they do have seatbelts in them, which is great.
Yes, and they are generally...
So, the kids can sit at the table and play a game, or something while you're driving. So it keeps them busy.
Yeah, and they're generally easier to be able to take advantage of the amenities at a rest stop. Mm-hmm. So unless you have like double slides, which some of them will, but a lot of them may only have a single slide or whatever, where you can still get around inside. It allows you to get around and take advantage of that in a rest stop.
Mm-hmm.
Cons, if you don't have a tow vehicle and your rig goes in the shop, you don't have you have to rent a car.
Yeah, you got to rent a car.
You generally do need to have some sort of a vehicle to ride around town in, because if you do have a large 30-foot Class A or a 29, 27-foot Class C, they're not that easy to drive around town and get into parking spaces. Mm-hmm. Or especially if you're seeing sights.
Sightseeing.
A lot of sightseeing, you can't get into places. But yeah, let's talk about lengths. Trailers are actually, it was short-lived, but we did have a tow trailer, which now you would look at as being a heavy retro. It was an 18-footer. That Prowler was an 18-foot. Mm-hmm. So, and they come smaller than that. I think you can get a 16-foot tow trailer on up. Up to 21 feet, you can go any place. If you have a tow trailer of any style, you can go anywhere if it's up to 21 feet.
We're talking about national parks and things like that.
State parks, national parks.
Yeah.
You're pretty much, unless it is designated for tent camping only. You can park anywhere. Mm-hmm. 22 to 27 feet, you can get into most places. There are a few that are limited to 25, 26, 24 feet, but most places will accept you. Mm-hmm. Then I put 28 to 35. National parks, you can get into a fair number of them. I don't know the exact number for 35 and below, but once you get above 35 feet, 7% of national parks can accommodate over a 35-foot rig.
Very rare.
So yeah, it's so if you want to hit the national parks and you want to stay in the park, you need to want to try to stay in that 27-foot range. And most parks, they won't keep you from showing up to try to find a spot. But if you don't fit, you don't get a refund.
Nope, you don't.
Yeah, so you got to take that into mind as well.
Yeah, we were very lucky that we got into Yellowstone. And let me tell you, we
tried a couple of different sites. It was a little scary.
It was scary, yeah. But we got in.
Here's the last thing I want to bring up for you to think about. And I hinted to this early on. Are you able, or are you willing to travel to go pick up the RV? And what I mean by travel, are you willing to go halfway across the country to pick it up? We were living in Las Vegas, and we picked up this fifth wheel in Michigan. And you can go back and watch that video, but it was worth it. We saved more money by doing that by far than if we would have gone with the deal that we were going to get in Las Vegas. There's things to look at. The RVs have transportation costs because they have to tow it from Elkhart, Indiana, where they're made, all the way across the country to the West Coast to sell it on the West Coast.
Or back to the East Coast.
Well, East Coast, it's not that far from Elkhart, and Michigan is right over the border. So we were kind of getting local prices on it on that end as well. So there was no shipping costs. There was no transportation. You can, if you do a nationwide search, you may find the vehicle you're looking for in another state a whole lot cheaper than what you're looking for locally, if local is on the West Coast. So that's basically it for this episode. I hope we didn't confuse you more. I hope you got something out of this. So you got a better idea of what is gonna fit your needs.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Be careful out there. Safe travels, and we hope to see you on the road.
All right. And take care. Cilantro.